I froze as the facial recognition alert flashed on my phone. There she was, Diane Winters, HOA president, crouched behind my children's playhouse, camera in hand. The timestamp showed 3:14 p.m., exactly when my kids get home from school. This wasn't random. This was calculated. 3 separate angles confirmed it. She was photographing my children through our windows. My security system caught everything in 4K, the same system my company installed throughout this neighborhood. The same system she voted to approve last year. I built secure vision from nothing after 15 years in military intelligence. Now, we protect everyone from small businesses to government facilities. But I never thought I'd need to use my expertise to protect my own family. The notification pings kept coming. Diane wasn't alone. The HOA's compliance committee had been documenting my family's every move for weeks, all because I questioned their ridiculous new community enhancement fees at last month's meeting. Their mistake? Targeting the family of the person who designed the very surveillance system they're using. What they don't realize is that I can see them too, and I've been watching them break every rule they claim to enforce. This isn't about lawn height violations anymore. This is about my children's safety, and I've got a plan that will end their reign of terror permanently. The harassment started subtly. First came citations for my grass being half an inch too tall. Then warnings about my daughter's bike left in our driveway, creating neighborhood eyesores. Each violation more ridiculous than the last. I'm a single dad raising 2 kids after my wife's military service ended in tragedy overseas. Oak Ridge Estates was supposed to be our fresh start. Good schools, safe streets, friendly neighbors. At least that's what the brochure promised. I installed our home security system the day we moved in. Professional habit. 16 discrete cameras with night vision, motion sensors, and facial recognition. All footage backed up to secure cloud storage only I could access. I just never imagined I'd be using it against our own HOA. My first real confrontation with Diane happened when I requested permission to build a treehouse for my kids. "Absolutely not, Mr. Sullivan," she said at the meeting. "It would lower property values." When I pointed out that board member Greg Thompson had a nearly identical structure, she dismissed me. His has proper architectural approval. The room fell silent. No one ever challenged Diane. That night, reviewing my security feeds, I noticed Diane's car slowly driving past my house, 3 times in 2 hours. The next day, I received notice of 4 new violations, all for things visible only from my backyard. Someone had been trespassing. My neighbor Elena Rodriguez confirmed my suspicions. "They've been targeting families who speak up," she whispered after I helped carry her groceries. The Martinez family questioned the pool renovation budget last year. Suddenly they received 15 violations in 1 month. They moved away. I began documenting everything. My security system logged Diane and her committee members circling my property, photographing through windows, even entering my backyard when they thought no one was home. They didn't realize that my cameras caught everything. Their trespassing, their selective enforcement, their illegal entry. The most disturbing incident came when my 8-year-old daughter Lily found a strange device hidden in our mailbox. I recognized it immediately, a simple tracking beacon that would alert them whenever we collected our mail. Military-grade technology shouldn't be in civilian hands, especially not petty tyrants like Diane. I called my business partner Jackson, who helped me install additional surveillance equipment around the neighborhood. We documented Diane's team placing similar devices at the homes of anyone who questioned their authority. "This isn't just harassment anymore," Jackson said, reviewing the footage. "This is organized intimidation." The situation escalated when I received a certified letter announcing a special assessment, $5,000 per household for security enhancements. The irony wasn't lost on me. They wanted to use my own competitors' systems to better spy on residents. At the emergency meeting to discuss the assessment, I asked to see competing bids. Diane refused. The board has reviewed all options and made the best decision for the community, she stated, her perfect smile never reaching her eyes. I noticed Greg Thompson shifting uncomfortably beside her. Later that night, my system alerted me to movement near my garage. The footage showed Greg slipping a note under my door. It read, "They're falsifying financial records. Meeting tomorrow at Diane's house to discuss targeting you specifically. Be careful, she has connections in the police department." This explained why my previous complaints went nowhere. I needed irrefutable evidence. As CEO of Secure Vision, I had resources. Most people didn't. I deployed our newest prototype, a smartphone-sized device that could detect and access wireless networks within range. Within days, I had everything. Emails between board members discussing how to make life difficult for problematic residents. Spreadsheets showing diverted HOA funds, photos of residents' children with timestamps and notes. Most concerning were the files on my family, hundreds of photos, notes about our routines, even copies of my private correspondence. They weren't just harassing us. They were building detailed profiles on everyone in the neighborhood who posed a threat to their control. The more I discovered, the more residents came forward with stories. The Thompsons were denied permission for a security light after their home was burglarized. The Patel's complaint about racially motivated enforcement mysteriously disappeared from official records. This wasn't random pettiness. This was systematic abuse of power affecting dozens of families, and they were using my own industry's technology to do it. When I found Diane and her husband photographing my children through their bedroom windows for the third time in a week, I knew I couldn't wait any longer. I had all the evidence I needed, and a plan to expose everything. Everything changed on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I was working from home when my security system sent a priority alert. Someone had disabled the power to my house. The backup generator kicked in, keeping my surveillance system online, but the timing was suspicious. Minutes later, my daughter called in panic. "Dad, someone's trying to get in the house." I watched in horror as my cameras showed Diane's husband and the HOA's head of security, a man I'd discovered was actually unlicensed and had a criminal record, attempting to access my back door. They were using what looked like a master key. "Lock yourself and your brother in the bathroom and call 911, I instructed my daughter, already rushing to my car. I notified my security company to dispatch a team immediately, but I was still 10 minutes away. The cameras showed the men discussing something outside my children's window, then returning to their vehicle to retrieve what appeared to be lock-picking tools. This wasn't about property values or community standards anymore. This was breaking and entering, with my children inside. As I sped home, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Greg Thompson. "She knows you've been gathering evidence," he said, his voice shaking. "They found one of your cameras near the clubhouse. Diane's ordered them to retrieve any evidence from your home and make it look like a robbery." I tried to stop them, but the call cut off abruptly. I arrived home to find police already there, but not the ones I had called. These were officers I recognized from Diane's frequent social media posts, her close personal friends in law enforcement. They were escorting my terrified children from our home. "Mr. Sullivan," one officer said, "we received reports of child endangerment at this address. These children were found home alone." It was a setup. While I watched helplessly, Diane emerged from her SUV, her face a mask of concern. "As HOA president, I've documented numerous safety violations," she announced loudly for the gathering neighbors. "We've been worried about these poor children for months." My daughter broke away from the officer, running to me. "They tried to take my phone, Dad, but I saved the videos like you taught me." In that moment, I knew this had gone too far. This wasn't just about me anymore. They had targeted my children. I need to get something from inside, I told the officers calmly, holding my daughter close. Evidence you'll want to see. We have a warrant to search the premises, one officer replied. You can't enter. I smiled for the first time that day. Actually, I can. Computer, Protocol Alpha. Instantly, every screen in my home, TVs, tablets, even digital picture frames, lit up with the same message. Secure lockdown activated, unauthorized access detected. The officers exchanged confused glances as my home security system announced, biometric authentication required for entry. All other access attempts will trigger emergency protocols. What is this? Demanded Diane, her perfect composure slipping. This, I said, stepping forward, is what happens when you target the wrong family. I'm James Sullivan, CEO of Secure Vision Systems, the same company that handles security for the governor's mansion, 3 federal buildings, and yes, your own community center. Murmurs spread through the growing crowd of neighbors. I turned to the officers. Those children were never alone. My home security system includes remote monitoring. I have time-stamped video of everything that happened today, including these. Men attempting to break in. I pointed to Diane's husband, who suddenly looked very pale. I continued, my voice carrying to the entire crowd. I also have evidence of HOA board members trespassing on private property, placing illegal surveillance devices, and selectively enforcing rules against residents who question their authority. The skeptical expression on the lead officer's face was fading. Those are serious accusations. I have proof. But first, I'd like to speak with your supervisor, specifically Captain Rodriguez of the County Sheriff's Department. I looked directly at Diane, the one running the investigation into financial fraud and misappropriation of HOA funds. The blood drained from Diane's face. You're bluffing. My phone rang. I answered on speaker. Mr. Sullivan, this is Captain Rodriguez. My team is 3 minutes out. Keep everyone there. The officers who'd arrived with Diane suddenly looked uncomfortable. One stepped away, speaking quietly into his radio. You've been busy, Diane, I continued, creating fake violations to force out homeowners who oppose you, installing surveillance equipment without consent, using HOA funds to renovate your vacation home in Lake Tahoe. You can't prove any of that, she snapped, but her voice wavered. Actually, I can. For the past 6 months, I've been working with the FBI's white-collar crime division. You see, when you started targeting families in my neighborhood, you didn't just catch my attention. You triggered a full investigation. I pulled out my tablet. Computer, display Operation Watchdog. My home security system projected a holographic display visible to everyone. It showed a detailed timeline of the HOA's activities, the selective enforcement, the financial discrepancies, the unauthorized surveillance. What you're seeing is evidence gathered from over 50 households, I explained to the stunned crowd. After Elena Rodriguez approached me about her excessive violations, I discovered a pattern. Anyone who questioned the board suddenly found themselves under scrutiny. The crowd's murmurs grew louder as neighbors recognized their own homes in the footage. James provided us with the initial evidence. Came a new voice. A woman in a suit approached, flanked by uniformed officers. I'm Special Agent Patel, FBI. We've been building this case for months. Diane lunged for her purse, but Agent Patel was faster. That contains evidence, Mrs. Winters. Financial records you thought you'd destroyed, but were automatically backed up to your cloud account, which our search warrant gives us access to. As Diane and 3 board members were led away, Greg Thompson approached me. I wanted to stop them sooner, he said, but they threatened my family when I questioned the financial reports. Your information helped us build the case, I assured him. The rogue officers were placed under investigation as well, their connection to Diane's husband's security company revealed through financial records. As the crowd dispersed, Elena Rodriguez, hugged me tightly. "You didn't just save your family," she whispered. "You saved our community." Later that evening, as official investigators combed through HOA records, I gathered with neighbors in my backyard. People who had lived next to each other for years were finally introducing themselves, sharing stories of intimidation and relief that it was over. My security system chimed with an incoming message from Agent Patel. Preliminary findings: over $2.3 million in misappropriated funds. Diane's team was systematically targeting residents to force property values down, then using shell companies to purchase homes at reduced prices. At least 12 families were forced out through excessive violations and harassment. I looked around at the newly forming bonds between neighbors. Families felt safe in their own homes again. Children played freely without fear of being documented for violations. The temporary community council was already discussing reforms: transparent finances, term limits for board members, and an oversight committee with rotating membership to prevent power consolidation. "How did you know they would come after your house?" asked a neighbor. I smiled. "In security, we call it a honeypot. I deliberately made it known I was gathering evidence, knowing they'd try to retrieve it. But the real evidence was already secure, backed up to servers even I can't access without proper authorization." "So you used your own family as bait?" someone asked, shocked. "No," I replied, pulling my children close. "I used their obsession with control against them. They were so focused on watching us, they never realized we were watching them too." As Captain Rodriguez approached with update on the investigation, I realized the true irony. The very surveillance systems Diane had used to terrorize the neighborhood had ultimately been her downfall. 6 months later, our neighborhood feels like a completely different place. The new HOA board, elected by actual majority vote for the first time in a decade, implemented all the reforms we suggested. Elena Rodriguez now serves as president, bringing transparency to every decision. The criminal cases against Diane and her accomplices continue to expand. Investigators discovered similar schemes in 3 other communities. They're facing federal charges for racketeering, fraud, harassment, and illegal surveillance. Most satisfying of all, they're banned from serving on any HOA board for life. My security company now offers a special community protection package to HOAs nationwide, with built-in accountability features and transparent monitoring that prevents abuse of power. We've implemented it in over 50 communities already. Best of all, my kids feel safe again. Last weekend, we finally built that treehouse, approved unanimously by the new board. As we sat there watching the sunset, my daughter asked a question. That made me smile. "Dad, do you think they ever realized the irony? That they were so busy watching everyone else, they never checked who was watching them?" I pulled her close. "That's the thing about surveillance, sweetheart. The most dangerous camera is the one you don't know is there. Our neighborhood cameras still record everything, but now they capture children playing freely, neighbors helping each other, and a community that finally feels like home."